So I'm making this video today to share with you all my lineage, my shamanic lineage, and the path that I have taken on this shamanic journey to get to where I am today. I want to honor the teachers that have helped me to awaken my spiritual gifts and to fine-tune my spiritual gifts. So there's a long list, and I'm not going to mention every training I've ever done or every teacher I've ever had, but the ones that have influenced me the most on this path. And I want to kind of go in a linear order, but a lot of them overlap and continue to this day. So there is going to be some circling back as I tell the story. It started in 2011 when I left the Mormon Church, and that is what set my feet onto this shamanic path that I follow and love and honor today. I was born and raised LDS, Mormon, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is what they want to be called now, but they will forever be Mormons to me. So I was raised in an LDS family. I have 8 children. The first 3 were raised completely in the LDS church. The middle 2 was when I transitioned out of it. So they had their early years as Mormon, and then their later years I was on this shamanic path, and it really did disrupt my family to go from kind of a strict LDS way of thinking to all of a sudden mom's doing witchy woo-woo stuff over here. And so yeah, I get that it was a hard path for my children to navigate, because I had been a pretty staunch follower of Mormonism for so many years. 42 years of my life was dedicated to living that mentality, that religion, trying to instill those values and things we believed into my children. And then when you wake up to the deception and you see this is not what I thought it was, it's devastating. It shattered my world. It shattered my heart. It broke apart everything. Nearly cost me my marriage, but we have found a way to navigate through this mixed faith relationship. And we are still together today. We have, like I said, 8 children and 4 grandchildren, and I'm helping to raise 2 of my grandchildren. And so we have a very large family, is my point. And a lot of that was due to the LDS upbringing that we both had, my husband and I, and the idea of how we wanted to raise our children. So in 2011, I shook all that up when I said, I no longer believe. This does not resonate with my soul anymore. And it wasn't just that it didn't resonate. It was that I believed with all my heart it was not true. It was not what it had presented itself to be. So that's devastating. That's just soul crushing to realize I had given my entire life at that point to a religion that was full of lies and deception. So there was the next 2 years was took me down a rabbit hole of, well, is Christianity even true? And came out on the other side of that. No, I do not need a savior. There is no need for a mediary person between myself and source. That is what I came to the conclusion. And so there was this big hole that I needed to fill. And the first shamanic teacher that came into my life was a Reiki master teacher, Tina Hall Baker. And she brought me Usui Reiki. And I went through all the Reiki classes with her over about a year period it takes to go through all the training. And so she was my first dabble into the Reiki and energy world as a healing modality. And I had some incredibly beautiful experiences with Usui Reiki. I did hospice for a while and worked as just offered Reiki to people at their end of their life. So I worked as a hospice volunteer, just giving Reiki for free, and had some really beautiful experiences, and dipped my toe in this death and dying world, the world of those who are getting ready to cross over. And that is also when mediumship entered my life, connecting to those that have crossed, and also channeling. And I've had experience with channeling letters from loved ones on the other side. I've channeled letters for mostly just immediate family members. And so far, well, that's not true. I've channeled for friends, not just immediate family members. So mediumship started to come online, and channeling around 2013. And then I met my next shamanic teacher, who is Lisa Ross Starahana. And she's a part of the International Reiki Association through William Rand. And she brought me the Holy Fire and Karuna Reiki. And so I went through all the trainings with her for the Holy Fire. And then through her, I, of course, met William Rand, who I did it was a international Reiki retreat held in Arizona. So I met William Rand there about 2016. And then I took some classes from him in 2022. Every time he's come out with an upgrade of the Reiki, I have done that through him. So that's kind of my Reiki lineage. So Tina and Lisa, and then William. And I use Reiki a lot, especially over the internet or long distance. But it is not the only energy work modality that I have in my medicine basket. So about 2015 is when I had my first shamanic teacher from Peru, Don Oscar Miera Cosada. Probably butchered that last name. He taught the Universal Shaman course through the Shift Network. I've done a few courses through the Shift Network, and so he was a teacher that I met through that. He was my first shamanic teacher that brought me my mesa, the Pachacuti Mesa tradition, and so I became a mesa carrier through his course. And I love my mesa. I continue to work with that a lot. When I do online teachings, I will have my mesa open and work with it. So Don Oscar led me, the next shamanic teacher that really influenced how I work and helped open up my gifts was Alberto Vialdo. He does one spirit medicine. He's a part of the Four Winds, or runs the Four Winds, and it was his light body school. I did his online course with him, and then did a retreat in Joshua Tree with Alberto. And he also works with a mesa. So my mesa just continued to grow and expand through his teachings. And I carry lineage stones from Peru in my mesa through Alberto. So he was a very influential teacher for me. And that I graduated from his course in 2018. At this time, again through Shift Network, I started a Kundalini awakening course with Raja Chowdhury, and I'm still a student of his today. I've taken his many courses. That was just the beginning, the Kundalini awakening. Then there's the Kundalini code, the master code. I've gone through that twice, and I'm in his current class, which he's called it Fuck It, Just Shreem. And so I'm enjoying his work. His work I credit for helping to awaken the Kundalini and the experiences that I had in 2021, which I have made a video about and shared that experience. So I met him in 2018, and I'm still a current student of his work. Then the next major shamanic person to come into my life was Starwolf, Linda Starwolf from Venus Rising. She taught shamanic breathwork. And so I went through her training course to be a shamanic breathwork facilitator and a shamanic minister through her Venus Rising Ministries. So that was my first shamanic minister card. I got that in 2021. I started her training in January, and by March of that year of 2021 is when I had my Kundalini awakening. And it was because of breath work and her trainings that I was able to get myself back into balance, because that threw me off for it was a good 7 weeks where I didn't dare drive a car because of this energy that just I could not get myself back in balance, and I had extreme vertigo. And I do credit this moment in time in March 2021 where I had all these shamanic teachers and initiations, and it was kind of like the perfect storm, and it awakened all these gifts on having them come online at once. So my clairaudience, I could hear things, clairvoyance, I could see things, then the clair-knowing, feeling, sensing. Speaking in tongues was not one of the gifts. It was probably the only gift out of the 9 shamanic gifts that didn't come online with that Kundalini awakening, which I am just now starting to work with that gift through light language. But my channeling, embodiment, all of those things burst. And it was like I was going crazy, trying to make sense of it. But now that I have hindsight, I can look back and see what a gift that experience was. And I still feel the energy like it's been awakened. I still work with it within, my own self, for myself, but it's helped me with my gifts to share them in I would say in a clearer, more connected way to spirit, since having gone through that awakening for myself. So that was huge, and I credit Raja Chowdhury and Starwolf, were my 2 main teachers that really helped that happen. In 2016, I joined the Oklahoma Native American Church, and I learned to trust spirit and sit and connect with spirit in a way that I had never even dreamed about. sitting in plant medicine ceremony through Oklahoma Native American Church shifted my life. And I should say that also was a catalyst for awakening my Kundalini and my spiritual gifts. Sitting with plant medicine for me. I never did drugs growing up. I didn't have a problem with alcohol. You know, I was Mormon and we don't do those things, and I followed the rules. So sitting with plant medicine was just an amazing, incredible experience to open up this connection to spirit that I had never experienced before. Breath work also came into my life in 2017. Before I started with Star Wolf, I was doing breath work with ONAC, the Oklahoma Native American Church. And so I credit Oklahoma for helping me heal my religious trauma. If I had not sat through those teepee ceremonies, some of them were so unbelievably hard and soul, what is the right word for it? It was like 10 years of therapy in 10 hours of a teepee ceremony. That's how I feel. And then I did it about every other month for the first year, and then every 6 months for the second year. And then once COVID hit, it was once a year. But so those plant medicine ceremonies they were with peyote, led me to ayahuasca, salvia, cannabis. And I'm a strong believer in ceremony with plant medicine. I don't judge people who have to use plant medicine in a non-ceremonial way, but I see the value of it is just it's unlike anything else, but it is so important who you sit with and who facilitates that ceremony. That's all I want to say about that. So 2016, is when I started writing my book. 2015 is when I started writing my book. 2016 was when my book was published. I need to circle back. As I said, I probably would. So 2015 is when I started training with a beautiful medicine woman who is also family for me, my husband's cousin. She's a sun dancer through the Lakota line. Her teacher was a Lakota elder, and she facilitated my first sweat lodge ceremony in 2015. And then the next month, she gifted me my first pipe, my chnupa. And then by September of that same year, I went on my first vision quest. And I write about my vision quest. I share that experience in my book. That vision quest was a beautiful initiation onto this shamanic path. I saw visions with my eyes open that had never happened in that way before. And I will share, White Buffalo Calf Woman came to me. She came to me. She stood right outside my hochika, and she held a beautiful bowl of water in her arms. And when she first appeared to me, my first thought was, that was my friend on the hill, and why did she get out of her sacred circle to come stand by mine? My first thought was not, this is a spirit, this is a vision. My first thought was trying to rationalize it. And then when it was clear to me it was not my fellow companion on the hill, but this beautiful Native American woman. I just shut down, and I was terrified. Like, I mean, it just literally it scared me so bad. And it's in the middle of the night, and I had been crying for a vision. I'd been praying for a vision for almost 24 hours at that point, and here it was. And it's one of those moments where be careful what you wish for, because you might just get it. And I got it. And the next 24 hours after that was just a whirlwind of vision and information and extreme terror, scary things that happened that I was shown, and then the most beautiful, enlightening bliss and nirvana. It was such the perfect storm of light and dark, and that's exactly what I had asked for. Just didn't realize what that dish was going to taste like when I actually experienced it. But that was a really powerful initiation that I will never ever forget, and I am so grateful for. And carrying that pipe was a beautiful honor. So that leads me to my next shamanic teacher after my cousin. She's the one that got me on, this pipe carrier and sweat lodges, and then that led to the ONAC training, which led me to my last medicine person that I worked with from ONAC. His name is Lone Buck. He's a medicine person, and he changed my life and brought me, so the first pipe came through Lakota teachings. He brought me teachings from the Yosemite Seminole tribe that he was from. And I worked with him for 2 years. We met every week for 2 years, and then we had 2 retreats. At the end of the first year and at the end of the second year, we were met together as a medicine family in person. And it was while I was getting ready for my first retreat, I was putting my sacred pipe together, and it broke in my hand when I went to put it together. It just split in two. And I remember our next class when I was so scared to tell my teacher what had happened, because in my heart I'm thinking something's wrong. Like the bowl of my chnupa literally just split in half and fell apart in my hands. How can that be a good thing? How can that be a good thing when this sacred object breaks? So I was terrified to admit what had happened, but I needed to talk to my medicine teacher and find out like what the meaning of that was, and what do I do? What do you do as a pipe carrier and your pipe breaks? I wasn't sure. I was unclear. And so when I told him what had happened, he was in awe of it. And he said, that happens when you're ready for a new pipe. That pipe had served its purpose. The pipe that came from my Lakota tradition and lineage, he said, it was time to move on. It breaking in the way that it broke was an honor, it was a blessing, not a curse. So that was a relief. And then he told me, of course, how to care for that broken pipe, what to do with it, and then call forth my next pipe, which was also a really beautiful story how it came in. And I I was able to get a new pipe before our retreat. So now that pipe is the medicine pipe that I use personally. So that's the story of my pipe, I guess. So the Aklava Native American Church, I was studying to be a cannabis medicine person. And those were the most incredible 2 years in this journey that I have had, working with a one-on-one medicine person each week for 2 years of my life. It also helped awaken my gifts in a way that I don't know how I could have gotten to that point without that guidance and direction from the beautiful medicine people, Bright Hawk, River Song, and Lone Buck. I am forever changed because of their service, their willingness to give and teach and pass on their knowledge. I also did the Shamanic Academy with Rose Cole, and this overlapped with my cannabis teachings, my cannabis medicine person class. She no longer runs the Shamanic Academy. She's changed it to something like Sacred Oaks Academy. But with her, I learned how to do guided energy medicine and kind of really step into that mediumship and channeling gifts. So it was a blessing to go through her course. She teaches guided energy medicine, which I also still use. But her training is not like Reiki. It's one where you have to continue to buy the levels, and so I did not go on. I only did the first year of training, and I'm pretty sure I'm not going to do any more training with that. So that means the guided energy medicine is only useful for me to use until 2028. It has an expiration date, which doesn't sit perfectly well in my heart as far as, I've done so many other energy medicine trainings to go to that last one and have them say, you can only use this modality for a certain amount of time, and then you have to come back and pay me more in order to keep up with this lineage of work. And she has every right to do that. It's just not how the medicine people I have worked with, it's not how they view their medicine. It's not how they view energy work. And yes, I think it's important to train, and that is why I'm sharing what I have done, because I want this on the channel so that people can look back and see. If you watch one of my future energy works videos, I just want this as a reference to know, okay, there is a foundation there. There is a reason she's able to do what she does. And what I call what I do right now, it's a form of weaving light with Reiki, with energy medicine, with whatever spirit directs. It is a very spirit directed modality, and not something I've learned from just one person. So yeah, and then the last shamanic teacher that I just graduated from her intentional creativity training with Shiloh Sophia. I just graduated from that this past July, so in 2024. And using art as therapy, it is something I learned to do with the shamanic breathwork training. After we do breathwork session, we would do art. in some way, some form, and bring forth what we had seen in vision. So I feel very strongly about that healing modality and want to, do more with that as well, because I just find it really beautiful. And I've done, for me, it's expressed through goddess paintings. I'd like to paint the goddess in form, but it could come through with animals and just nature in general. There's no set rules of what you paint. It's for therapy. It's for healing, and there's so much healing that can be done through art. So I'm a big believer in that. And then just this month, I took a light language class, which is that one gift that I have kind of struggled with. And that also goes back to my religious upbringing of, speaking in tongues, which is what my religious family would call light language. And so, yeah, I'm working with that gift so far right now. That is just something I do personally for myself. I haven't shared it with other people, but I suspect that as I get more comfortable with that gift, it will come out. So that is my lineage in a nutshell. It's taken me a half an hour to share, and I won't take up much more time, but I felt like it was important to lay a foundation of my past, of this shamanic path that I've been walking, and just give credit where credit is due. I wouldn't be where I am today without these beautiful shamanic teachers holding me up, and their lineages that I have been adopted into. The Pachacuti Mesa tradition, the pipe carrying, my pipe and my mesa are two of my biggest medicine tools in my medicine basket that I can use in one-on-one sessions or like this over the internet, and to those who feel called to work with me through the videos that I'm going to be putting out. I want to say I personally have felt a big shift in how this world is going. I see it now as, well, I'll share what my friend said, how right now we're the phoenix who has caught fire, and the phoenix burns up into ashes but rises again. And I think we're going to be in the fire for a while, which is why I feel called to offer these things that I'm going to be offering. And all of this, my intention 100% is for world peace. It is for making this world a better place for myself, for my children, for my neighborhood, for my little corner of the world, and then extending that out to the entire planet. Like, I want world peace, just like everybody else. But in order for that to happen, I think the fire is going to get a lot hotter before it starts to go out. I think there will be a dissolving away of the old. And I find it beautiful that I'm sharing with this on November 19th. And Pluto is now shifting from Capricorn into Aquarius. Like, energetically, this is a strong month of November. And also energetically, 2024 is a significant year as well. So the timing is just right. This is what I need to be doing now, and I want to just publicly honor my teachers that have come before me, say how much they have meant to me, how much I love them, and how much they've meant to me. And, you know, I wouldn't be who I am today without having gone through their courses and having gone through their ceremonies. And I just wanted to honor that foundation that has brought me to this place. So with that, I'm going to close, and probably the next video I would like to get out before Thanksgiving for healing, for those who feel called to watch. It will just be a healing, probably a short 10-minute healing video, just for peace, to bring personal peace and peace to the world, and anchor in some more light, because we're going to need it. So thank you. If you've made it this far, I appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.